Welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. In this video, we have the brand new and updated for 2021 Nissan Rogue. We're going to go through the entire Rogue lineup, this particular car, the spec, all of the features, all of the weird things that go on with it, and some of the really nifty things they've added for this year. So stay tuned. This will be a whole walk around video. We'll have another video coming in the future, which is the driving impressions of this car in the city, on the highway, and in the mountains for a quick hard blast. So stay tuned for that. But here, let's go through all the nitty gritty on the brand new Nissan Rogue. The biggest change for 2021 is almost everything. This car, you cannot pretend that it's an evolution from the previous Rogue. This is a totally new ground up chassis, design, everything. It's a big, big change. So I have to admit, I wasn't a fan of the previous Rogue. I thought it didn't look great, didn't drive great, but you need to approach this car with a totally fresh mind because it's actually quite interesting. So starting up front, you have the new Nissan V-shape that we're seeing on Pathfinder, Armada, and others. We have standard LED headlights in Rogue. This one is an SL trim. I'll walk you through the trims in a second, which gives you fog lights that are LED. Comes standard on SL and Platinum, and I think it's optional on lower trims. This one's also equipped with Pro Pilot Assist, so this is a fairly optioned car. A base price for a Rogue front-wheel drive S is $25,750. This one is like maxed out all the way to $37,920. Now this one is an SL with all-wheel drive. There's S, SV, SL, and Platinum, all of which can be front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive as an added cost. The Platinum is the only trim higher than this particular car, and what it gives you is basically every option as standard and a little bit nicer of a leather interior. But I gotta say, this is already quite expensive and quite nice for what you're getting, and I think the sweet spot might be a lower trim. We'll talk about that as well. Powering this car, let me pop the hood really quick, is a 2.5 liter four-cylinder that's been updated for 2021. So let's open up the hood and find the latch as usual, which is always hard to do on camera for the first time. Oh wait, that was pretty good. This one has a little thing that we need to hold it up with. Oops, sorry to all of our viewers for knocking the camera there. So like I mentioned, 2.5 liter four-cylinder, 181 horsepower, 181 pound-feet of torque. That is an increase of 11 horsepower and 6 pound-feet of torque from the previous gen. Now, that doesn't sound like a big increase, but let me just tell you what they've done to update this engine from the previous mode. It includes a mirror bore coating, a variable displacement oil pump, the integrated exhaust manifold, an EVTC intake valve, and other small refinements. So they really went through and just refined this engine here or there. I will say though, it doesn't feel that much better than the previous generation. This engine actually is quite torquey at low RPM, makes peak torque at 3,500, peak power all the way up at 6,000. Pretty smooth to run, but it does take a second to get off the line from a start. Part of that's also down to the eCVT transmission, which is, of course, continuously variable. So there's no planetary gear set. You just have basically an infinite ratio of gearing that you can have. For CVTs go, or as far as CVTs go, it's calibrated really nicely, cruises down the road quite nicely. So let's go. That's all the stuff you need to know about the engine and everything like this. We're going to run it through our own MPG testing, so stay tuned for a future video where we test the highway efficiency of this car. There we go. Coming around the side, you can see this one's spec'd out. It's got the good wheels, all the good stuff around, 360-degree view cameras. You can see the cameras here in the mirror, which is quite nice. Featured here along the side of the car is Nissan's floating roof design, which is a pretty good design element, I think. It makes the car stand out, especially in this two-tone color scheme that we have here. The overall length of this car is 1.5 inches shorter than the previous Rogue. It's also 0.2 inches lower. So like I said, totally new chassis that this is built on. Come around the back with me because this is where things actually start looking pretty good for us. So we have the new Nissan design logo, all this good stuff. This one, of course, denoting the SL all-wheel drive trim. Of course, this one's a maxed out one, so it's got the automatic tailgate. But take a look at the space in here. This car has tons of room. Look at the underfloor storage as well. Plenty to put a couple bags in there. You have to excuse the jackets, but it goes all the way back. And then of course these covers slide in. Let me just get this jacket out of the way. These covers slide in to create a flat floor, which is really nice. We have a lot of snow equipment here. We just got dumped on in Colorado. So trunk space is exceptional. You can also lower the rear seats from here in the back, which is super nice, and you can see it's a totally flat floor. So in terms of cargo capacity, really, really good. Power closing rear trunk on this one, and the chime that it makes is really nice compared to older generation Nissans. Now this car, of course, is a family-friendly vehicle, and take a look at this, almost 90-degree opening on the rear doors. That is absolutely massive. So if you have kids with child seats or you're loading things in the car, you really have quite a bit of room to do so. Rear seats fold up quite easily as well. Now I have the driver's seat set for myself. I'm 6'1". So here I am sitting in the back. Look at the knee room here. Plenty of space, especially for a CUV of this size. A lot more than I've experienced in others. You have seat back pockets on both sides. This one has 3-zone climate control as well, so I can adjust the air vents for the rear. And this one's fitted with the glass roof, so I have a beautiful panoramic open feeling. It also has manual sunshades for the rear passengers, so if your kids are back here, they don't necessarily get burnt from the sun, which is nice. This one's fitted with all-wheel drive, and so each trim, of course, can be spec'd in all-wheel drive. And the way that it works is it's a primarily front-wheel driven car, but it has an electric hydraulic center differential that can send power to the rear. I have to say, this car's snow ability, which is really where you're going to need the all-wheel drive for a car like this. You're not going wheeling off-road. It's just nice in the snow. Has been incredible.
I hope I don't hit anyone.
We, like I said, got about 2 feet of snow up here in Fort Collins, and on even totally unplowed roads, pickup trucks getting stuck, Tahoes off the road, this thing just plowed on through. Now, snow ability comes down to 2 things, tires and ground clearance. Great ground clearance on this vehicle, as well as the tire choice just being an all-season tire, but it works extremely well in the snow. So have to say the all-wheel drive system really paired well for the snow. Another benefit of the all-wheel drive system is you get 2 extra driving modes over the front-wheel drive. New for 2021 is a drive mode selector switch. So the front-wheel drive versions get Eco, Highway, and one other one. And then this one has up to 5, which includes snow and even a little bit of off-road dirt mode, which is pretty neat. So let's jump inside and take a look at the cabin. Inside, there's a mix of good and bad. So we have, starting off with the bad, no wireless charging. Again, this one's spec'd out to $37,000, $38,000 as an SL, and there's no wireless charging pad. So that's bad. Also, up here, take a look at these lights. They're just incandescent yellow bulbs, which, you know, for this kind of money, I'd expect it to be LED. But one last bad thing I should mention is there's a ton of blank buttons in this car. Again, being highly spec'd, I think the only thing it's really missing is a heads-up display. I would expect to see less blank buttons. You know, make the buttons for the vehicle. It just feels a little less premium. But other than that, everything else is truly exceptional. These front seats, extremely comfortable. They were NASA designed, inspired. I should say they were inspired by NASA design, but I don't think NASA actually helped with the seats. It's just a PR thing. And you get height adjustment on the driver's side, of course, but not the passenger. The passenger seat has no lumbar, no height adjustment. Here I have lumbar in and out, but not up and down. And of course you can move the seat around. So I have to say I've spent some time in this seat, no complaints with it, holds you in, quite supportive and really comfortable for a long distance cruise. Other than that, the Bose sound system, fantastic system, really good system. I would highly suggest this. And then you get nice creature comforts such as heated seats, heated steering wheel, which has become in handy massively over the last few days of cold, snowy weather. Let's turn the car on. The start-stop button placement's a little odd being over here in the center console. Some members of our team don't like it. It doesn't really bother me at all, but I think that's kind of an interesting thing to note. Of course, you can sync your left and right side temperatures, and then there's rear control, so 3-zone climate, which is fantastic. We have the nav system up here, which is fairly easy to use. It's not the prettiest. It doesn't fill up this whole bezel. Personally, how I would use this is just connect my phone to wireless CarPlay or a wired Android Auto, and you know, just use that system right there. I don't actually love Nissan's system, but that's okay because they offer a CarPlay alternative, which is really great. You can see down here the drive mode selector switch where we have dirt, snow, regular mode, eco, and sport. They really do make a huge difference as to the driving characteristics of the car. And then just in front of that, we have an electronic parking brake and a auto hold feature, which is super nice. The way auto hold works is if we're cruising along, for example, and we come to a stop, I get a little message on the screen that says auto holds on, except it's not. I don't see the message either. At least it happens while you're, maybe I need to be buckled in for this to work. Hold on. We're gonna demonstrate auto hold properly here. Let's try it. So there we go. Now I get the message. Come to a stop, car auto holds, it's now green. I can lift off the brake pedal and the car will just hold itself at a red light. That is a really nice premium feature. And then we get to the shifter here, which is also quite interesting. For this year, for 2021, they've moved to an electronic shifter instead of the mechanical linkage, which means there's pretty good storage under the center console. You could put a purse under there, baby wipes, whatever you need to, which is fantastic. The way the shifter works, I'll get my Starbucks out of the way, is you have a little unlock switch on the left side. You can then pull it one notch into neutral. You can go past the point of resistance into drive. Same for reverse. You can go past the point of resistance into reverse. And then there's a park functionality. Makes sense, super easy. There's also manual shift controls, so you can pull it into drive and down again into M. And you can see here I have a 1, 2, 3 shifter for the gear, more or less the simulated gear that the car has chosen to select, that I've told it to select rather. So good child lock controls from the back, windows up and down, mirrors on the left hand side. This car does have a ton of safety tech, which I think we should probably get into, starting with forward collision warning, Nissan Safety Shield 360, standard on Rogue, super important, will stop you from hitting someone in front of you. It'll give you an audible warning, then a visual warning, then it will slam on the brakes. It will do its best, given system limitations, to avoid an accident altogether, but of course it's really going to save a lot of those fender benders, things like this, but not an excuse to not pay attention. Then of course you have rear backup assist, blind spot monitoring, 2 radars in the rear, which is really awesome, and it's actually got great driver assistance. We have ProPilot 360 as well, which means on the highway the car will do fantastic lane centering, and it's been updated for 2020, but this Rogue gets the 2020 updates as well, being a 2021, with a new radar, a camera, and software calibration to make it so much smoother on the highway. It really is a big upgrade. So I love ProPilot 360, just Nissan ProPilot. But the thing with ProPilot is it's only available on SL or Platinum. So if you're going to spec one out, make sure you get the ProPilot. However, it is quite, $10,000 more over the base price to get the SL version in front wheel drive. Other than that, really comfortable place to sit, really good spacious cabin, great glass roof on this particular one. It opens up quite far as well. Really, I think this is maybe one of the best small crossovers. Nissan's really been turning things around. We recently reviewed the Sentra on this channel, the Sentra SR, which for the money is one of the best cars you can buy. Seriously, a huge improvement over the previous Sentras, and now we're seeing it again with Rogue, and then we saw it with Armada. So Nissan is changing their styling, their feeling. It's much more premium than previous cars, and you kind of have to just try one out to see the difference. I mean, I'm so happy we get to spend a week with these cars, because what an improvement. And what a great place to spend the time with your family. Great back seat room, great trunk space. You can mount something on the roof if needed. It kind of is a do everything kind of car, and it's super capable in the snow. So if you live in a snowy environment, highly recommend this car with the all-wheel drive functionality. Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. We'll see you on the future ones. This is not the end of Rogue content. We're going to be driving it. We're going to be testing the fuel economy, and we're even going to do a whole video of this thing in deep snow. So get ready for Rogue content to come. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.